Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum dear students. I am Mr. Kadim Khan and I am a lecturer in the Institute of Computing, Quart University of Science and Technology. Today we will take lecture number 17 of the subject of Introduction to Computing, in which we will discuss different types of computers by data handling capabilities and size. Dear students, when we classify the computers, then we have two different parameters. By data handling capabilities, we mean that how larger amount of data is processed by the computer. If you buy a computer to process small amount of data, then we need one types of computer. And when we want to develop or create a computer for processing the large amount of data, then we requires another types of computers. And also the computer is categorized by the size. Now, by the size, we means that how large amount of space the computer take place. For example, the personal computer takes less amount of space as compared to the supercomputers. The supercomputers resides on a large amount of space. For example, it resides in the big rooms, while a simple personal computer, it resides only on your lap. So these are two important parameters. Based on these parameters, we can categorize the types of computers. This is the discussion agenda for today's topics. It includes types of computers and computer hardwares. Then we will define the types of computer based on data handling capabilities, which includes analog computers, digital computer, and hybrid computers. Also, we have the types of computer on the basis of size. So, by the size we means the space which a computer takes place when we installs that computer on the user environments. So, it includes supercomputers, mainframe computer. Many computers are many computers also called mainframe computers, workstations, microcomputer, and handheld devices. So these are two important types of computers based on data handling capabilities and based on size. So we can categorize the types of computer and its hardware based on data handling capabilities and its size. So we will discuss each of them in detail here. There are three different types of computer which are based on data handling capabilities. By data handling capabilities, we mean that what types of data the computer is processing here. Now, data is categorized by three different ways: analog data, digital data, and hybrid data. So, when the data is analog, then that computer is called analog computers. When the data is digital, then we can call it the digital computer. And if the data is both analog and digital, then that particular types of computer is called hybrid computers. Now currently, the example of the digital computer is our PC, which includes the CPU, that is central processing system, and the keyboard and the display screens. Also, it includes the mouse, speakers, etc. But usually, this central processing units, which is also called the system units, it comprises the digital computer. The first types of the computer based on data handling capabilities called the analog computers. These are very classical computers, and in fact that were invented first times in the history of computer. Analog computers are designed to process the analog data. So analog data is in fact continuous data which changes continuously and have no discrete values. So here the analog computer are used when we don't need any exact values such as speed, temperature, pressure, and the current. Now, these values such as speed, temperature, pressure, and the current, these are in fact the digital data. For example, we cannot say that the speed of a car lies in the analog data. Yes, no. We cannot say like this. Similarly, temperature is expressed in the digital data like 37 degrees Celsius, etc. Similarly, pressure and currents are also expressed in terms of the digital data. It cannot be represented in the form of the analog data. Now, it is the pictorial representation of the analog computers. You can see there are many switches. These switches are used to provide the input data to these analog computers. And also, you can see that the data is in fact provided as an output in analog format too. For example, the data is here represented in the form of some charts here. So the data here is provided in the form of some circuits or some switches. When the switches are on, that means it's the true data. If the switches are off, that the data is also off. So here the digital data is not provided to this computer, only analog data is provided here. Another important types of computer based on data handling capability is called the digital computer. As its name indicates, the digital computers are those computers which takes the digital data, and the digital data can be in the form of some binary data such as 0 or 1. So, as its name says, the digital computer is that types of computer which process the digital data. Also, it takes the input of the digital data and then also process the digital data and can produce the digital data as well as analog data here. So, digital computers are in fact designed to perform the calculations. Here we mean the complex calculations, what we have done in Microsoft Excel, and also logical operation at a very high speeds. Calculations, we mean that to perform some arithmetical operations on data like addition, subtraction, multiplication, divisions, also some other statistical operations like medium modes and similar variance calculation, etc. And also to perform the logical operations on data or on the certain data capabilities. For example, when one value is greater than the second value, then that is the logical operations. Also, we have when to perform the AND or NOT operators, so then we perform the logical operations. And the speed of the digital computer is also very high as compared to the analog computers. Now, digital computers can accept only 0 or 1 format of data. So, all the data is entered in the form of the digits or the binary values, and also it processes the data by using certain programs and stores the results in the memory of the computer, and also it displays the output as well. Today we have all sorts of the modern computers are called the digital computers, which includes the laptops which are used by the users on their laps, and also we have desktops which we use on the tables in our offices and also in our homes. Also we have smartphones which are also one types of computers, but they are also digital computers which we use at our home or when we travel, so that we use these smartphones with us. So these are three important types of the digital computers. And the third types of computer is called hybrid computers. As its name shows, it is the combination of both analog and digital computers. So hybrid computers is the combination of both analog and digital computer, because sometimes we require both capabilities, that is analogs and digital. So it is a fast like analog computers and has a memory and accuracy like the digital computers. And it can also take the analog data as well as digital data, and also it can display both the digital and analog data as a output. So it can be used for the certain operation like in the medical sciences. For example, here you can see that the doctor diagnoses the disease of a patient through using hybrid computers. So, for example, heartbeat is here calculated, and also another sort of the information from the human body is are obtained, and then the computer decides about the specification of the illness of the patients. So it can process both continuous and discrete data. Continuous data is called the analog data and discrete data is called the digital data. So it accepts analog signals and then converts it into digital form before the processing. For example, here the heartbeat is provided in the form of the sound, which is the analog data, and then it converts inside in computer processors in the form of the digital data and then displays the result as well in the form of the picture. So it is widely used in the specialized application where both analog and digital data is processed. The application examples of the hybrid computers includes usage in the petrol pumps to convert the quantity into the price. That means that when we want to fill our petrols in our cars, so the operator provides the measurement of the fuel, and then the flow of the petrols occurs, and then that flow is converted into quantity and price. This is the important example of the hybrid computers used in our daily life. Similarly, these computers are also used in airplanes, for example, to calculate the speed of the airplane. So here, the speed of the airplanes is in fact converted into digital data. And also can be used in a hospital, as we mentioned these examples, that the heartbeat is converted into the image or into diagnosis, and also it can be represented in the form of some numeric data. And also the hybrid computers are used in the scientific applications as well. That, for example, to calculate the speed of the stars or the speed of the planets, then we use the hybrid computers here. So in daily life, we use hybrid computers in many fields here. Now, another important types of computer based on its size is also very much important. So based on size, we mean that the space required by that computers in the room or in the certain halls. So sometimes computers become so much or of the larger size. So then we divide the computer based on the size as well. There are 6 different types of computers based on its size, including supercomputers. It is very vast, high-speed computer, which includes high space, and also mainframe computers. Many are that is many frames are many computers, workstation computer, microcomputers, and handheld devices. Now here you can see that the microcomputer is a smaller one. Even that handheld device is more smaller than the microcomputer. Then we have mini computer which is larger than the micro and handheld device. Also we have the mainframe computer which is more larger than the previous types of computer, and the supercomputer is the super larger computer based on its size. So these computers also provides larger speeds and size. So when the size is increasing, then the speed also increased. The speed means that the processing times of computer taken when one operation is processed. So the performance or the efficiency of computer also depends on its size. If you are using a smaller computer, then its size will also be small, and also its speeds will be not larger as compared to the supercomputer, which is a very much large computer by its size. These computers are not used by the common peoples, except some microcomputer and handheld devices. The others computers like mainframes and microcomputers and similarly mini computers, workstations and supercomputer. These are used by the large organizations. For example, supercomputers is used at nuclear reactors to calculate the different parameters like radiations and the intensity of heat. So these computers are mostly used in the large organizations and for scientific purpose. Now we will explain each types of computer in a detail here. Look at this computer. First computer by types, which is the type of computer based on size, is called the supercomputer. The supercomputer is that particular computer which is the biggest and also very much fastest computer. Means that it takes large amount of space and also it processes the data very quickly. So these are designed to process huge amount of data. For example, when we process data on the clouds, which is of the huge amount of data, then we use the supercomputers. Supercomputers can process trillions of instructions in 1 second. So means that trillions of different operations are in fact processed by the supercomputer in just 1 second. So that's why it is very much high-speed computer. It has thousands of interconnected processors. For example, in our own personal computer, we use just one processor. Or for example, in my computer, I use 7 different types of processor because it is in fact Core i7, so that's why it uses 7 different processors. And these processors work simultaneously or in the parallel. Similarly, in supercomputers, there are thousands of processors that work in parallel and in the concurrent fashions. So it divides the job or the process in sub-processes, and then sub-processes are assigned to different processors in the supercomputer. That's why it efficiently processes the data. And mostly these are used for the scientific and engineering applications such as weather forecasting. In the weather forecasting, the data is obtained from the satellite's data and then it processes that particular types of the images which are satellite's images, and then the forecast is in fact here is provided to the workstations. Also used for the scientific simulations. For example, when we have to simulate certain process, then will use the supercomputers. And the most important application of computer is in the nuclear energy, where when we want to perform certain testings on the nuclear weapons, the nuclear fusion is tested, then we use the supercomputer because we require the impulse data measurements, which is very high speed data measurement. The supercomputer was first developed by Roger Carey in 1976. So that's why this is also a very classical computer, but modern supercomputers has been evaluated by its high speeds. So still these computers are very much important, but these are very costly and also very difficult to develop. Another important types of the computer based on size is called the mainframe computers. The mainframe computers are in fact developed to support hundreds or thousands of users simultaneously. This computer is based on users' services. If a user, there are thousands or in fact more than thousands of users, and the user want to use that particular computer simultaneously, then we will use the mainframe computers because these computers serve as a servers. So this supports multiple programs at the same times. So multiple programs are executed in one time using the mainframe computer. It can also execute different processes simultaneously as like the supercomputer. This feature of mainframes computers make them very good for big organizations such as banking and telecom centers. In the banking, when we requires to process large amount of data and different employees and the customers have to simultaneously access to the data, then here we will use the mainframe computers. For example, I am performing the transactions from websites, then that websites will reside over this mainframe computers. And also, if the employee of the banks want to perform certain operations over the bank accounts, then he or she will use the mainframe computers, because mainframe computers also stores large amount of data, and it also helps to provide services to large amount of community. Also, it is used in the telecom sectors. For example, when we have to perform some call operations, like when we want to call somebody in a remote city, then simultaneous calls, that is the telephone calls, are received and they are transferred to their destinations. So these are also used through the mainframe computers. So these two operations are required to manage and process high volume of data, and simultaneous access to different data and user is performed through the mainframe computers. But this computer is smaller than the size of the supercomputers. Also, it is not much high costly as compared to the supercomputers. The next important types of computer is called mini or microcomputer. So as its name indicates, this has many frame computers, means that smaller size, also called mini means smaller computers. So it is a mid-size multi-processing computers, means that it performs multiple operations in one unit of times in parallel. Also, it consists of two or more processors and can support 4 to 200 users simultaneously at one time. So as like the mainframes computers, it also supports more users, but 200 is large amounts of users as compared to the mainframe computer, which in fact serves millions of users simultaneously. So mainframe computers are used in certain institutions and organizations for different tasks such as the billing accounts and inventory management. For example, when we want to buy some things online, so then the inventory management system works. For example, I want to buy a laptops, so there are few people who will buy the laptops at one time. So the mini firm that is the mini computers will work here. So mini computers is in fact lies between the mainframes and microcomputers, means that it is in fact between the mini mainframes computer and microcomputers. So means that its size is in between these two computers. So it is a smaller than the mainframe but larger than the microcomputers here. This is the example of the mainframe computer. You can see this is the mainframe computer, which in fact handles different users simultaneously. And here is the IBM Power 770 computers. You can see that multiple CPUs or central processing units, that are the processors, are combined with each other to form the mini computers. Here, when one user is using this computer, the other will utilize this one, and similarly third and fourth user will utilize all these computers. Also, when one job is assigned to this computer, second job, third job and fourth jobs, these are assigned to different computers in one rack. So in one rack, we in fact create multiple computers, and these computers work simultaneously. The four types of computer based on the size is called the workstation. The workstation is a single user computer, means that only one user can work on these computers and is designed for technical or scientific applications. For example, see here the picture that the workstations is here working for weather forecasting or for the certain graphical applications creation or for certain musical workstation like in the TV or radio. We are using the workstations and also used for the engineering design workstations. So these are in fact fast microcomputers having a large amount of RAM, that is random access memory, and these are highly volatile and high speed memory, and these computers are used for the speedy graphics adapters. So workstation computer utilize large amount of RAM. So RAM is in fact high speed memory. It takes the inputs or the certain jobs from the processor and then transfer that jobs to the output devices. So used for high speed graphics adapters to process the high resolution graphics. Basically, the workstation computers are used in different applications such as graphics workstations, music workstation, and engineering design workstation. Means that when we want to perform some graphics applications creations, like when we want to create the high resolution movie, then we will use the workstation computer. Also used to process the music workstations, like when FM radio is working. So FM radio is processing the musics, for example, to increase the tone or decrease the tone or volume of the music, then we will use the workstation computers. Also used for the engineering design workstations. The engineering design workstation includes to create certain engineering videos or the graphics that is relevant to the engineering products, like simulating the model of the aircraft or the car. The fifth types of computer is called the microcomputer. The microcomputers is also called the personal computers, as you can see in the pictures here, that it is used for the personal usage. So it is used for the personal use here. So different individuals or people, they work on this microcomputer for their personal life. For example, to calculate the salary of someone, or to stores the data, or to create new files or resumes, we are using the microcomputers. So the microcomputer has a microprocessors, that's why it is called the microcomputers, and a central processing unit. That is called the central processing or the CPU unit, which is also called the microprocessors. Also having the memory and the storage area, the input device such as the keyboards and output device such as the display screen. So laptops and desktop computers in our daily life usage are called the microcomputers. We use the laptops to work or to create the different sort of lectures and other files using the microcomputers. And similarly, the student use the desktops to write different programming assignments here. So these are very good for the personal works, and also it is used for the making assignments by the students, watching the movies, for example, want to watch a movie for entertainment, and also that was in our offices to create different sorts of the applications and letters. The last types of computer based on capabilities is called the handheld device. As its name indicates, the handheld device can be held or can be in fact used by the both hands. So this is a very small size computers, because it can be easily used anywhere. So these are also called personal digital assistants. These computers fits into someone's pockets and can run on batteries, because you can use it without the power. But when we use it away from your home or from your office, then you have to in fact charge it using the batteries. and it is used while holding the unit in your hand as well. So you can press any button through your fingertips here, and this is a very small amount of types of computer byte size, because you can just place it in your bags and you can use it. It is smaller than the laptop computers. So basically these are used for appointment books. For example, when you want to create the appointment book of different people that want to meet you, and also used for addresses books, like when you want to store the address of the people, also can calculate some basic arithmetical operations and use as a notepad for creating different files. And these can be synchronized with the personal microcomputers and as a backup. So you can connect handheld computers with the personal microcomputers, for example laptops, so that computers transfer data from handheld device to the laptops of the microcomputers. So it's a very small computer, and handling it is very also quite easy as compared to the other computers. Now dear students, this is the end of this lecture. Here is the book reference. You should read this book. That is the Introduction to Computers, a Student's Guides to Computer Learning by Shekhan Notial. So this is a very good book and quite easy, so that you can learn more about the computers. Also, if you have any question, you can drop the email to my ID, that is m.kadim@kust.edu.pk. You can send your emails at this email address. I will wait for your emails and will reply soon as you send me your emails. Also, you can post your queries through the KCMS as well, so I can read your messages from there as well. Thank you very much.